You are now listening to the Baseball Aficionado podcast, episode number 7. Happy to be with you guys once more. Another edition, and I got a special guest. This man was on my show before, and I like to call it another co-host edition. Our last time we met together was episode 5, and I'm talking about Willy Baez from Bodega Sports. And last time we spoke about April and about not just Latino baseball, but we talked about, the performances of April, all that stuff. It was such a hit. I said, hey, let's do it again. So we're coming back on. I'm going to have him back on momentarily. But before we do that, make sure if you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe, the like, comment, the whole thing. It helps to grow, especially, if you want to keep this interaction. If you like content like this, please help me out. And I help you out too, because I love talking to everybody out there as well. So keep that in mind. Keep the engagement going. Of course, also follow me on social media. Links are below as well. And away we go. So without further ado, I want to welcome back to the Baseball Aficionado of Bodega Sports, Willy Baez.
Hey, yo.
Yo, what's up, kid?
Taking it easy, man. And yourself?
Man, tranquilo, tú sabes. Here, bro. Glad to have you back once more. We had to do it again. We had so much fun. We had a ball last time. I was like, you know what? Let's do this again. I was like, all right, he didn't run away and hide and, be like, oh, este tipo como que medio loco. He came back.
Pick
so
up your calls.
You didn't ghost me. He didn't ghost me. So I was like, all right, we good. So
No. But I'm happy to be here. And episode 5, then they know what we're going to do. We're going to tell them who is doing good. How can I say it? MLB players, Latinos, of course. Of June. So.
But May, of course, because it's May. Obviously, we in June, wow. right? It's all good. May, mira, this year is going by. We're in May. I mean, we were in May. Now we're in June, but
it's
so
flying by. You know that, right?
It's
2 months like
by.
nothing.
Like nothing, bro. Like nothing. So let's do it. Let's get into it. So where do you want to start? Because I know, obviously we saw in April there was a lot of. April is always a weird month, right? Because in April, you see people that come out of nowhere, and then like 2-3 weeks later, what happened to them?
Like
so
nothing.
That's why May, right? Like nothing. And I feel like May, though, the cream rises back to the top, right? So let's talk about some of that. Like some of the familiar names are kind of on this list again. So
all right. So we're gonna start with the pitchers and the relievers, right? I'll give you my 2, and you'll give me your 2. So number 1, I think we both agree. Luis Gil from the Yankees. I think he was the best pitcher. Latino, not Latino, it doesn't really matter. He was the best pitcher in the MLB in the month of May. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's funny. So, okay. So I went back and forth on this, right? So, and I think some of this is probably based on the fact that you had picked him. So I like to go like the other way usually.
Devil's advocate.
But es que el tipo es una bestia, man. I had a hard time. So you're kind of right and kind of so okay, because we have different lists. So the list as far as what you picked, I guess, for the top Latino players, the pitcher, you had Luis Gil. I went with Ranger Suarez.
All right.
Right. So I went with Ranger Suarez just because now, mind you, he just got hurt. Le dieron in his last start.
Don't worry. In May. That's June stuff. That's June stuff by now.
Right. But I believe that was I believe his last start was still in May. Maybe
May 31st.
And I like the last week of May. I want to say it was like 20 something. It was the last start was in May. So to me, Ranger Suarez still dominated. If you look at his ERA is still, if I'm not mistaken, it's right there with Luis Gil's, like for the year. It's still there. Now, Luis Gil is on a different planet recently, right? I want to say the last 3 weeks, Luis Gil is just, I mean, I had him as my AL. We'll talk about like the early awards and stuff.
Yeah.
I had him as my AL Cy Young so far. But yeah, he's, to me, Ranger Suarez is still there. He just got hit on his last start. So
yeah. No. I know. I mean, he had a great month of April. Like he was the best pitcher in my opinion. And then in May he was doing great, and then he got hurt in his last start. And to be honest, I don't know what's gonna happen. I didn't look into the MRI to see if it was negative, positive. I have no idea what's going
it
on.
it sucks. And here's the thing about him, right? What I like about Ranger Suarez is, yes,
Hmm.
obviously you see the strikeouts, you see the whip is low, all that stuff is good. His whip is very, up there. I think it's like top 2 or 3 in all of baseball. Whip is still
Hmm.
very, you know. The thing with Ranger Suarez that I like, I know people don't look at wins as much as before. Now,
Yeah.
mind you, Luis Hill got a lot of wins too. So
Oh yeah.
you gotta give it to him. But what I like
Hmm.
about Ranger, I think with Ranger Suarez though, what I like about him is, if you look at the Phillies, the Phillies win like almost every time he pitches. Like
Yeah.
the Phillies win percentage. Now, to be fair, the Yankees win percentage is pretty high too with Luis Hill. What he's doing is insane. I gotta give him. But I just feel like Ranger coming off of the other month, I feel like that momentum was still there. So
No, I mean the Phillies make look good anybody. Even Christopher Sanchez, bro, is like winning games. Think about that. I mean, he's been pitching well, but they got 40 wins already, and it's
he's
only
a good
June.
pitcher. He's a
Yeah.
good pitcher too. Nobody talks about him. I think he's a young
Hmm.
guy. Christopher Sanchez is a guy who nobody knows him unless you follow baseball, but he's a
Correct.
guy who he's getting better. I mean, I like his stuff. He's got great stuff. I love pitchers like that. He throws in the zone. He's somebody to watch out for.
Well, hopefully so. Hopefully so. All right, relievers. Now I think here we disagree. I got Emmanuel
Yeah.
Clase. He got 2 wins, which it doesn't really matter for them. In 13 innings, he got 9 saves on 10 opportunities, no runs, and what can I say? 14 strikeouts in 13 innings. Tell me about your guy, because I might be wrong.
No. So I think you could go either way. I
Hmm.
actually almost picked. I was gonna pick Emmanuel Clase. Um, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, I picked Robert Suarez. Like the guy, I picked two Suarez. two,
Yeah,
two, two Suarez. That's funny.
two
That
Venezuelan
wasn't two
Suarez.
Venezuelan Suarez too. That's
Yeah.
crazy. So I mean, the thing is that, look, 24 strikeouts, whip is 0.73,
Hmm.
2-0 record, okay, whatever. ERA is 0.69. So ERA is still now. Look, could I or should I have picked Emmanuel Clase? Yeah, his numbers are like video game. What is his ERA
Yeah.
now? 0.4 something. What is his ERA?
I don't know in total, but in the month of May, he was
The month
completely
of May.
zero,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
zero,
0.
nothing.
Well, Robert Suarez pitched well in May too, though. That's the thing.
Yeah,
Like what Robert Suarez's ERA in May was like something like,
I'll tell you
I
right now,
mean,
0.73.
0.73. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he was pretty good, but one earned run, one home run, one walk in the whole month. I mean, in the whole month.
Yeah,
So, I mean, Emmanuel Suarez is still, to be fair, he's the best closer in the game right now.
yeah.
So,
I
I'm
mean,
sorry,
man,
classic,
you
classic.
can, yeah, clase. You can make an argument for him or Mason Miller. I know that he's a baseball savant sweetheart, but it's for a reason, man. That guy Mason Miller, if he was anywhere else, he would be like lights out. He
He
was
has
in
the
the
best
Dodgers.
stuff.
Anywhere he has the best stuff.
See, here's the thing with Emmanuel Clase, and this is
Hmm.
why, and I remember when Edwin Diaz was having his great year,
Hmm.
and then Dominicans would come at me talking about, well, look at Emmanuel Clase, and I think what it was the style points. When Edwin
Mm.
Diaz was at his best, he was more dominant than Clase. Is not dominant like that. So that's why you mentioned Miller.
Hmm.
That's why nobody gives Clase credit. That and the fact that he's with the Guardians.
Yeah,
um he doesn't like, you look at Miller, you're like, holy crap, like this guy
yeah.
is like, the ball explodes. He don't have that, you know what I mean? Like Clase doesn't have that stuff like that, even though he still throws well, he throws hard, but I don't look at him and go, wow, like what
He's
great
not
stuff. But
flashy.
no, he's not, but he gets
Not
guys out.
flashy. He gets
But he
them
gets guys
out.
out.
He's reliable. He's as reliable as they come. Like
He's
I
the
wouldn't be
best right now.
surprised. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if like Robert Suarez goes out, or like they hit him like 2 hits and whatever in an inning. But I don't have that. When I see Class A, like I know that the job is done. Like
Yeah,
I
he
know
doesn't.
that the
Yeah.
ninth inning is. You don't even get nervous with the guy.
Yeah,
That's it.
at the end of the year, I don't think it's gonna be. Robert Suarez might continue for a while, but Clase has done it.
Correct.
He's done it. So I'm just talking about for last month.
Yeah,
But
yeah, for May.
honestly, it's
Yeah.
not. Yeah,
No, and the biggest thing about Suarez, I think it was that he struck out 13 or 14 batters. What was it?
14,
13 or
14,
14
14. Yeah,
in
he
a
struck out
row.
a lot of guys. Yeah,
Damn,
yeah,
that is crazy.
yeah.
Like
I
in a
think that was
row. That was the
that probably
biggest
got
thing.
me. That probably swayed me. I think that
Yeah,
streak. He went on a run
maybe.
that was crazy. He
Yeah.
went on a crazy run. That to me was like. So I kind of lean towards, even though it's not necessarily fair, because when you look at the numbers,
Mm-hmm.
numbers are what they are. Clase's got better numbers, but I kind of lean towards dominance more than just pure numbers. So that's
Yeah.
my one bias when it comes to closers. I look at style a little bit more. That's
Yeah.
just me.
I got you. All right, so we're gonna move on to catchers. We got two Venezuelans. I got Contreras, William Contreras. He's batting 301, 3 home runs, 21 RBIs. He's just doing everything. Like everything that you want from a catcher, and he's playing good defense. I mean, to me, he was the best one in the month of May. Who you got?
Yeah, so I was going back and forth between the two Venezuelans, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
William Contreras, it was one of those things where I said, all right, he's gonna pick William Contreras. And I could have picked him. I was gonna do it, and I
Mm-hmm.
changed it. I actually initially did, and then I changed it because I was like, you know what, Salvador Perez is every day in and day out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if this makes sense, right?
Go.
So if you look at the numbers, they're close, right? They're top
Yeah.
2, top 3 OPS, all that stuff. But I feel like day in and day out, I feel like Salvador Perez is a little more consistent,
Mm-hmm.
whereas William Contreras goes on these big offensive outbursts, and that's how the numbers come.
I
Either
got.
way, you can't. You know what I mean? I mean,
There's no
Salvador
wrong
Perez had
answer on those two.
no
That's the thing.
que los dos batearon sobre los 300. So it's like Salvador
Mm-hmm.
Perez hit over 300. He drove in 21, 3 home runs. So the numbers are there too.
I want to ask you something. It wasn't on the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that Dominicans don't have any good catchers on the MLB level?
This is a good. All right. I'm gonna give you my honest answer, and I hope
Mm-hmm.
that nobody takes it as me hating because I'm very honest. Because
Yeah.
to be honest, Dominicans do everything else. They got everything else. That's the one Achilles heel. If you want to argue, there's one in
Yeah.
Dominicans is catching. That's like Puerto Rico's Achilles heel is the other way is pitching. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, right? So okay, I don't think Dominicans emphasize defense enough.
Mm.
I think fundamentally, and that could have to do with the economic, the ideologies, and I've told you this in the past, where there's this idea that you're gonna concentrate on what you get paid for.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody focuses too much on hitting, and I think that's been a gift and a curse. The gift is that Dominicans have had the best offensive players. The curse is that if you look historically, Dominicans have not had as many 5-tool or defensive players. You can
Yeah.
look it up. There hasn't been as many. Now you want to talk about offensively, they've been the best. So I just think that and look at the perfect example. Look at the catchers who have Dominican Republic has had outside of Tony Peña, who was the exception to the rule, defensive catcher, who could hit a little bit, but he wasn't really offensive.
Yeah.
A lot of the Dominican catchers, you have Miguel Olivo for a little time,
Yeah.
offensive.
Yeah.
Wellington Castillo, offensive.
Yeah.
Ronnie Paulino, offensive. Gary
Yeah.
Sanchez, offensive. Jainer Diaz, offense. I mean,
Yeah.
I have support from my answer. So that's what it is. There's too much. They don't want to. That's not a glory position. So they don't want to focus on you need to be a defensive first. You got to buy in defensively
That
to
is
be
true. No, and
so,
communication is a big thing. It that's the thing that I don't get. How Venezuelans are so good, that boggles my mind because to me, eh, I know that on defense, if you want to get technical, they are better. They produce better players on defense than Dominicans. But it just boggles my mind that they're able to get so many good catchers, and we're not able to do it. Some of them actually come from the Dominican Summer League, like from DSL. They actually get signed, and they get the same treatment as Dominicans do over there on the
It's a
academy.
mindset. It's a mindset.
Damn.
Well. To
Yeah.
be honest, though, there's been Puerto Rican prospects who say, and
Hmm.
this is a testament to the Dominican Summer League in general. That system has got something well in play, good in place. The infrastructure is good. So there's
Hmm.
been Puerto Ricans who have played in Dominican Summer League too.
Yeah.
That's there's of everywhere. So they do it for the experience and the exposure to get that competition, which is
Of
good.
course.
That speaks highly of the Dominican infrastructure.
Hmm.
So, pero qué pasa? What you said, that's a mindset.
Hmm.
So Venezuela has taken the baton from where the Puerto Ricans were dominating and catching for so long. They've taken they got it now.
Yeah.
Venezuela got it now. Now, historically, they're not going to catch up. I'm sorry. But no, because Salvador Perez, I mean, I could give you.
Well, you're going to throw punch at me?
I don't have to throw punch. I hit you with a Benito Santiago and a Javi Lopez. I don't got to go. Or Posada. Which one you want to pick?
Damn.
I could go. Not to you. I'm talking about to answer.
No, I know.
Venezuela.
And we're going to move on to first base in a minute. But
yeah.
You know who was one of my favorite catchers? And he just lived for like 2 years, like 2 great years. Giovanni Soto. Damn, that guy.
Wow.
I used to love that guy.
Wow. That guy, mira, ese tipo, let me tell you something. That guy was such a waste of talent. Porque tipo bateaba, and he was a good defender too, pero ¿qué pasa? Le gustaba comer mucha alcapurria. So,
no joda.
Porque era vago. He was lazy.
Oh, damn.
Almost like Gary said, ese tipo bateaba for like 2-3 years. He was a stud. I remember. He even won Rookie of the Year, remember?
Yeah.
With the Cubs.
With the Cubs, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
So I expected a lot from him. Another one, just not to get off topic, but just one more. I expected more. Victor Caratini, I thought he was going to be a star. He's hitting a little bit.
He's hitting good. He's getting good because remember, he's limited because Yaniel is there, but he's hitting when he gets the opportunity.
Sí, pero yo esperaba mucho más de él because if you look at the minor leagues, he hit over 300. So he was a top prospect at one time. So but he just never took that next step. He just was a platoon. He's just been a backup. So yeah.
All right, first base. I think we got the same guy.
Yeah, there's nobody else.
There's nobody else. We talked about it in the last podcast. There's not a lot of great Latino players on first base, but what do you think is going on with Vladdy and the home runs? Yeah, let's talk about Vladdy. He hit 357 in the month of May. 447 OBP. That's crazy. That means that he was on base every half of time that he went to bat. He was on base. But only 2 home runs in the month of May. What do you think is going on with the power?
So it is interesting because that's something that makes you scratch your head. Because when you see an OBP like that, when you see a batting average like that, ¿qué quiere decir eso? Okay, he's seeing the ball well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's seeing the ball well. And I watch a lot of Blue Jays games too. So but if you look at his spray chart and you look at what he's been doing, he's hitting the ball
everywhere
on the ground. He's hitting the ball. So it's like, remember how you and I talked about last time. We're like, hey, he needs to hit the ball more in the air. And I'm like, well, he needs to hit line drives, right? He's not doing neither. Well, no, he's not really. He's really not.
I've seen some line drives, man.
Yeah, but they're
that's highlights,
low. They're like ground ball line drives, I think he needs to. I'll be honest with you, and I want this to happen. And I think we talked about this before.
Yeah.
I think if the Blue Jays fall out of contention, they need to seriously consider blowing up the whole thing. And I think he could benefit from a change of scenery.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he needs another ballpark. We talked about it. I hope that he gets traded for his own good. I think for his career, I hope he gets traded.
I want him on the Mets. Honestly, I would like him on the Mets. I know that the Mets park is not a better hitting park than the Blue Jays, but it's not that different. Blue Jays Park is not. People think that it's a hitters friendly park. It's not. They change the dimensions are kind of weird. Like it's a big park, and
it's like the Marlins. It's like the Marlins where batters go to die. Same shit. The same. All right, second base. Luis Arraez,
Oh,
batting 398 for the month
yeah.
of May. 2 home runs, 14 RBIs. I mean, 1 home run, 10 RBIs. Only struck out. You know how many times he struck out?
I think it was like what, two,
Four
four.
times, man. That's crazy in the month of May. I mean, what do you
Ah,
have to say about Arraez, man? I mean, everything has been
so
said, right?
yeah, he's the best pure contact hitter, and I think not to take it out of context, because when I said before last month that he was limited, I didn't mean limited in the regard of, I'm talking about as far as relative to what people want him to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So people want him to have speed and to have power. That's not him.
No,
He's basically almost, the numbers are comparable to Tony Gwynn. Say
he's
what you
20
want
Gwynn. He's 20
right
Gwynn.
now. Yeah, right now.
That's it. There's nothing. There's nothing else. I mean, whoever saw Tony Gwynn, and believe me, I was little, but I do remember
Mhm.
Tony Gwynn, and
Oh,
he wasn't the fastest. He was kind of chunky, but
yeah,
he
he
could
was
run,
chunky. Yeah,
and and he was just a pure hitter. Like you knew that he was just gonna get on base, and that was it. Nothing else.
nothing else. Yeah, he
Nothing
was gonna
else.
hit. He wasn't trying, and he didn't walk a lot either. If you look at
No, no,
Tony
no.
Gwynn,
That is
Tony didn't.
true.
He didn't like to walk. It's so similar
That's
with
the
that.
thing. He doesn't walk and he doesn't strike out, which is surprising. Both of them do the same thing. They don't strike out and they don't get a lot of base on balls.
Yeah,
Think
it's
about this.
fascinating.
He only got 3 base on balls on the whole month. That's crazy.
Wow,
And he's still
wow.
batted 398.
And I think, unfortunately, the sad part is I think that's gonna
Mm-hmm.
cost him. Because I think in today's game, unfortunately, with analytics, he's not an analytic darling. He's not.
Mm-hmm.
You
No,
know,
no, no.
he's not. And
What?
I
Don't tell
think
me that you were looking at the swing and stuff.
no, no, pero es que I have no the swing pad, the bat pad, the
The
exit velo,
It's a
the
velo. I
launch
forgot what
angle.
the name. No, no, no. It's about the how fast he actually swings.
Oh, the swing. Yeah, I forget
Yeah,
what they call that, but the swing
whatever it
tracker or
is.
something like that.
Yeah, the new swing
No, no,
tracker. He's the slowest in the whole MLB.
no, no. A mí no me importa ni un carajo de eso. I don't care. Honestly, no, no. I don't care. I have to paint the whole picture, because
Yeah.
that's how some people are gonna view him.
Hmm.
If it's me, I'm giving him $200 million to hit on my team first, to hit first or second on my
Hmm.
team, because
Yeah.
he's valuable, especially in the playoffs. You don't want to face a guy like that in the playoffs. No way.
No, impossible.
Jamás en la vida.
Impossible. You know, eventually we'll have to do a podcast just talking about the change on the lineups and basically how it has been transformed since, I would say the late 2010s all the way
Hmm.
to now. How much it has changed for the first batter, for the second batter. Like when you think about a second guy, you don't think Aaron Judge, which
Right,
we do
right.
now. We have to, but you used to think about somebody like Luis Arraez, Derek Jeter,
Oh,
you know,
Plácido Polanco.
Placido Polanco. That
Oh,
was your second base. But
he was. I loved him. I
yeah, I
loved him.
know,
He's one
I
of my
know.
favorites. I
Yeah,
loved him. And nobody appreciates players like that. Nobody.
no, not at all, not at all. And he was, to be honest, one of the best defensive Dominican players we ever got. Because
One of
remember,
the
Placido
best.
Polanco, he was the only one to win Golden Glove with on third base and on second base.
Exacto.
And
Yep.
so DJ LeMahieu did it, on second base and utility. But he would have been a great utility player now too. I don't know, but
Él trabajaba turno. He used to work the
hmm
count. If you needed to get on base, you can get on base. He didn't
yeah,
have power, but who cared? This is what drives me crazy. It's like, oh, ya no sirve, because no da 30 jonrones, ya no sirve. And it's like,
hmm
no, back in the day, you had roles in the lineup. You had a Luis Castillo. You had
hmm
a Plácido Polanco. You had a Orlando Hudson back in the day. Like, you
yeah,
had
wow,
these guys who, right? Tony Womack. You had these type of guys, and then you
Ricky
had the
Weeks.
boppers, Ricky Weeks.
Damn,
But
I'm
we
getting
got to do
old,
that.
man.
We both getting old. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Ricky Weeks used to be the power hitting second baseman who had
Yeah,
speed.
I remember that. All right. So third base, Jose Ramirez. Let me tell
Oh yeah,
you
yeah.
what he did.
Mhm. Go ahead.
295 average. 11 home runs, 33 RBIs, 14 base on balls. What can I say? He is a Dominican Barry Bonds.
That's so funny. Yeah, Dominican Barry Bonds. You better walk that statement back. People gonna get offended. You know that. Mira, este tipo nació con un bate en la mano. Like this guy is just and it's funny because last year he didn't have a good year. He didn't have a good year last year.
No, I know.
He had a bad year last year. And estaba caliente con los dominicanos because he didn't play in the World Baseball Classic. That's another topic. But a lot of Dominicans like, yo no quiero saber de eso. I'm like, oh, please. 2026, if he's almost with 400 home runs, you're going to be begging him, kissing his feet to come back and play, please.
Of course.
He's a great player. And I said this in one of my reels, and I meant this because I don't think this is even close. He's the greatest switch hitter the Dominicans have ever had. I think it's not even up for debate. But I mean, to you, do you think there's somebody else? I don't.
Of course, Melky Cabrera. No,
come on, Melky Cabrera. Stop it.
No, it is him. It is him. He's
okay, Carlos Santana. Santana.
Carlos Santana. Don't sleep on Carlos Santana, man. Like I
thought he was done, but
damn.
No, you're telling me. Yeah. Oh no. I'm not gonna let you get away with that. I told you, didn't I tell you? Remember last time you told me patience or panic, and I said no, dale tiempo.
Yeah,
tipo un veterano, es viejo con cojones, but he needs time. He got to ramp up that old engine. Ese otro que batea, tipo batea. I love, and he's a clubhouse guy. You need veterans like that. You need a Carlos Santana. He's a winner.
I agree.
Never heard controversy. Professional.
I agree. Family man, you can tell. All right. Do you have anybody else apart from Jose Ramirez, or we're both on the same page?
Oh, come on. I need to get drug tested if I need to get somebody else there.
All right. Shortstop, I think we disagree on this one. So I got the Venezuelan kid, Ezequiel Tobal. Let me tell you what he did. Average 308 on the month of May, 5 home runs, and 12 RBIs. Tell me, who you got?
All right. Some people might laugh at me with this one, but I don't care. So you mentioned Ezequiel Tobal. The only thing that he got better than Lindor for May is batting average, because Paquito Lindor had 4 home runs, 18 RBI. He hit for May. I'm talking about. I gotta look up the in the sheet, in the stats, I gotta look at the stats. Now the batting average was only, I think, 260 something. So batting average wasn't 263, but compared to how he started out the year, the guy looked like he didn't even belong in the major leagues.
Yeah,
OPS was over 750, slugging was over 450, which compared to 3 something a few weeks ago, where he was, it's sneaky good. I think that he did well. Drove in runs, and the last 2 weeks, this is based on mostly even the last 2 weeks, because the last 2 weeks he's been hitting the ball well. So
that's what's been carrying his average and everything, his home runs, everything. He's had 2 really good weeks at the end, and maybe he just needed to warm up or something. I don't remember that from him. To me, he was a player that just was ready from the start. It got kind of weird that he needs to. That this year he's been warming up, basically.
He's been out, to be honest, because obviously I follow the Mets a lot too, especially as a Met fan.
Yeah.
The last 2 years, he started out very slow. Okay. This year, he started out even worse than last year. So, and last year, he was able to get 30-30. I understand the criticisms. I think we always expect a lot from him, especially in New York. I was very critical of him. I was very upset with him, and I talked to my father. My father and I, we roast him all the time because we get pissed off because we want more. No, because we're fans. We want to see them. Like how you talk about Vladdy and all these guys. Like you want more. You want these guys.
You want more from these guys. It's funny. I mean, that guy just I got him right here because he is as humble as they come. Guys, humble. I can't explain how he treated the media, how he treated us when we interviewed the guy. Like, I don't know. Like, he, from that day on, he just bought me. Whenever I can mention his name and say, you know what, that's a different type of guy, I can say it. But the only thing about Tovar, I didn't get to talk to him a lot.
Yeah.
He might just take the Gold Glove from Lindor.
Yeah.
Man, this kid
He's
is
been very good. He's
amazing.
been very good. Yeah.
I
I
knew that
agree.
he
He's
was
been very good.
good. I didn't think he was like MLB ready. Good. If that makes sense. Wow, he
Yeah,
might
he's
just
been
win
very
the.
good.
Yeah, he might just win it. And the only thing that he needs to do, slow down on the strikeouts. He struck out 35 times. Like
That's
that's
why I
crazy.
didn't. That's what I didn't like. He's a little up and down. Now the batting average is decent considering he struck out a lot.
Yeah.
But he doesn't walk a lot either, and
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of. But he's young too. I mean, he's not
Yeah.
an old guy. He's a young
No, I
guy.
think he's 22, 23. He
He's a
just signed
baby.
a 7 year old, 7 year. I think he signed, yeah, a 7 year contract. So all the way to arbitration, he just bought all of that out. That's a great contract. Let's
Yeah,
see.
yeah. And so maybe he's on his way. Up. He'll figure it out.
Hopefully so. All right. So now, all the way from outfield to designated hitter. I don't want to spoil it, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
need to.
yeah.
We both agree. I don't know what happened with the other outfielders like Tatis and guys like that. What happened in the month of May? I'll tell you the three that we got: Juan
Mm-hmm.
Soto,
Mm-hmm.
Teoscar Hernandez, and Eddie
Yep.
Rosario, which was carried by the first 2 weeks of May. That he just went on a rampage, and then,
Ugh. He.
like you
eh,
said, up and
He
down,
drives
up
me
and down.
crazy. I
Yeah,
can't take him, bro. I can't.
yeah.
He gets me pissed off, man. Like Eddie Rosario pisses me off because he does. He looks like Barry Bonds, like for a week, and then
Yeah,
he turns into left-handed Javier Baez
yeah,
after. So
yeah. And that's a tricky thing because you can be like great for a whole week, and that might just carry you like it did right now. It carry him to basically one of the best players, Latino players, I would say,
for sure.
outfielders. But damn, what happened to Tatis? What happened to who else? Brian De La Cruz. Like, there's some guys that I was expecting to see, on the list. But eh.
I'll tell you what I think. So okay, so you
Mm-hmm.
talked about Tatis. Now this is me, and this is probably gonna be a hot take.
Nah, go.
I never thought Tatis was as good as they made him out to be.
Mm.
I always thought that he was a guy. I looked at him like a flash in the pan. Now I know it's hard to say that as a guy who won a platinum
Platinum glove.
glove.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's the kind of guy who they paid too early. A guy like that,
Mm.
you need to keep him hungry. Now it's not for lack of ability. I just don't know how hungry he is. They
I got
paid him too early. Remember, he had the bicycle, the motorcycle accident.
you. Mm-hmm.
Era como muy irresponsable, immature, kind of
Mm-hmm.
like nene de mami papi, like how we say, you know. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Rico La Cuna. I don't like giving money to guys like that. Not right away. You got to prove yourself. So I feel I never bought the hype with. And if you notice now, there's a
Mm-hmm.
parallel with some of these kids who had money growing up. Are you seeing it? We talked about Vladdy. We're talking about Tatis. Pay
Bo
attention to
Bichette,
that. Bo
Craig
Bichette.
Vigio. I mean, not
Pay
Craig
attention.
Vigio, Caven Vigio.
Pay attention to that. Now, it's not always the case, right? But
Mm-hmm.
pay attention to that. Their fathers had a lot of money. So,
It
I'm
might
not
just
saying that
be,
they're going to, yeah.
yeah, no. So for Vladdy, I think he's a different story. I think he's
Yeah.
been. I don't want to call him humble. I don't know him, but his father comes from very humble beginnings, and he still stays humble, like to this day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I know that
Yeah.
Vladdy comes from that same, mentality, and they look at money very different from everybody else.
I agree with that from what I know.
Eh,
Yeah, I was just
yeah.
bringing it up. I'm not, I don't, I
No.
think
I
he
know, I
could be the
know.
exception.
But the other guys, yes, to me, there's some guys that it might just be, what can I say? Like, it might just be like a tradition, if that makes sense. Like VGO's son, for example, like he's just carrying the name, the Boons, I don't know who else, the Carl Yosemski's, I forgot
Right,
his
right, right.
grandson's name, but it's
The
like to keep
Alomars back in the day.
Alomars, yeah, the Istudis. There's so many dads and sons that played in the MLB. And I think it's to
Ibar.
carry Loaival, yeah. No, and also I forgot. I just saw it the other day. Clemens, Clemens' son is
También.
on the Phillies. His not a great player. He wasn't like, but he's there and he's helping
Right,
them
right.
win.
He's Clemens. His name is Clemens.
But to your point, yeah, to your point, how hungry are they? Coming from such a good background, I would say, how hungry can they
Hmm.
be? All right. Let me see. I think we spoke about, the outfielders. Juan Soto had a great month. Oscar Hernandez had a great month. He needs to slow down on the strikeouts for sure. Eddie
Yeah.
Rosario, same thing, got carried by the first 2 months, by the first 2 weeks, and then Marcelo Zuna just keeps raking. I mean, 7 home runs. He hit so many home runs in the month of April that we kind
Yeah.
of like, how many seven in a month is like great.
It's
That's
a
like
lot.
great. That's like a
Hmm.
lot of home runs for anybody. So I don't know. I think people are sleeping on Marcelo Zuna to be the MVP. Who knows?
I think unfortunately, when you're a DH, we talked
Hmm.
about this. When you're a DH, I mean, we've seen Big Papi put up, Big
Yeah,
Papi's put up numbers that nobody else will ever put up. And he wasn't even top three in MVP in some years. You know what I mean? Because he's
I
a
think
DH, and that's a
the
joke. It's
closest he
unfortunate.
got was 2006 when Murnau took it from Jeter and from David Ortiz. I
That's
think that
right.
that was stolen from both of them, not only from Jeter. I can say Jeter 100 times,
Right,
but
right,
I think David
right.
Ortiz had one of the best, offensive
I agree.
stats like for any DH or any player. But
Ever, ever. Yeah.
ever, if Shohei Ohtani, and this is a question, I don't even have it scripted or anything. Sorry. If Ohtani leads the NL on batting average, let me see what else. Hits about 40, 42 home runs, does everything right, you know. Do you think that they'll consider him for the MVP?
Of course they will. That was the you just brought up the caveat to the argument.
Hmm.
That unfortunate. It's right or not. It's not fair. I don't think it's fair.
Hmm.
But you just brought up the Golden Goose, who is Otani's the Golden Goose. They would love to just write him for the MVP. You know that he's gonna get the MVP if he's leading those stats.
He might. He might.
And his WAR, I think his WAR is top 2 in the National League. I
It's
think I'm
just
not,
crazy.
and just being a DH. So they're gonna take out the calculators. They're gonna,
Hmm.
oh, he's got the highest WAR. Okay, let's put him down. OPS.
God, look at this. To be honest, I mean, I don't think he'll win it, but I see your point. I
I think
definitely
he
see your
will.
point.
Okay, this is the caveat. Here we go.
Hmm.
Here's the caveat. If he
Go.
is leading in WAR or in OPS or both, dare I say both, take it to the bank. He's winning the MVP.
The only thing, damn, that is a hot take. I don't think that he will. At least on War, I don't think he can do it just because like he has
He's
Mookie
just hitting.
Betts, and yeah, he's just hitting. So his total War wins above replacement won't be as good as somebody that is playing good defense. So I think that that's a given that it's gonna be Mookie Betts. But regardless, I mean, if he does actually just offensively is the most valuable player, I think they're gonna really look at that. Because right now, who's leading to you though? I think we're gonna talk about it now. Wait, I think we're gonna talk about it. So the next thing, we're gonna talk about the player of the month, like not just Latinos, but just the best player of the month
Right.
on the
All around.
AL,
Overall.
all around. On the AL, on the American League, I got Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge, as everybody knows, 27
Yeah.
RBIs, 14 home runs, batted 371, OBP on 488, slugging 928. The guy did everything that you ask him for, just everything. He carried the Yankees to the 41s that they got on. You know, I think they went like 21-7 on the month of May. That's how good it was.
Yeah, no, he was ridiculous. It was
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah.
And it's almost like here's the thing, and this is the funny thing. You just brought that up. When I give you mine, I'm going to explain why I'm going to give you mine, because you got to be careful with this now. Soto and Judge may get to the point where they're going to cancel each other out. And that could be something to watch.
You mean for the MVP?
Eventually, yes. And the AL, if they both keep hitting like this, they're going to steal votes from each other.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, you do have a point. I mean, I think that happens more in basketball than on baseball. But yes, I do see your point. They might just cancel themselves out. And tell me, who's your MVP, because I see it here, and that's a good one.
If you look at Bobby Witt Jr., and I told you I am the president of the Bobby Witt fan club. I'm also the president of the Ketel Marte fan club. Those are the two players I always, I wave the pom-pom for those two because I love them as players. Marte slowed down now, but he'll figure it out again. So Bobby Witt Jr. has the highest WAR, and a lot of it is because of his defense and the offense. If you take Bobby Witt off of the Royals, they don't have that record. I know Salvador Perez gets all the fanfare. Bobby Witt Jr. is such an underrated player, offensively and defensively. Now, I understand slugging, OPS, Judge and Soto got it. I'm not saying those guys, they're mashing more home runs. But it's not like, Bobby Witt still had a respectable May as far as, his numbers. He put up, what he had, 25 RBIs?
24 RBIs in May.
In May, come on, bro. He produces runs. He steals bases. He gets on base. He's got it's a 7 doubles. Got he had 2 triples. I mean, the guy is hitting over 300. I think he's hitting almost 320 now to this point, whatever it is, or something like that. I forget today. But the guy is a monster. And you could make the argument for Judge, Soto, or him. To me, honestly, those are the 3, to me, top guys right now in the MVP.
And I'm going to tell you what. If Houston gets where they need to be, and I think they're still in striking distance. Maybe they might be like 8 games from first place. But if they get into the route of where we know that the Houston can be, don't sleep on Kyle Tucker. That kid might just steal the MVP from everybody. He's just like he's the real underrated guy on that team. Like everybody talks about Altuve, Jeremy Pena, Yordan Alvarez. Everybody talks about everybody, but not about Kyle Tucker. That kid is impressive.
Yeah,
defensively, home runs, everything. So I don't know.
I like him.
NL MVP. I got Bryce Harper. This one was a tough one, but he did basically everything that you wanted from a guy. So he hit 313, 7 RBIs, 7 home runs, 24 RBIs, slugging on 583. He was just, to me, he's not leading the MVP race, but he's right there. He's right there behind Mookie Betts.
Yeah, no, I agree. You could make the argument for him. I like the pick. I think it's a very good pick, and he's actually heated up lately, especially.
Yeah.
The last 2 weeks he's been, he makes he does these things that reminds you why he was that guy with the Nationals, why he was the chosen one, right?
Yeah.
And
I still remember the first time that I heard about Bryce Harper was I was in high school, and we're about the same age. He might be 1 year older or something. But I remember that they told me, "Oh, look at this kid. He hit a home run 502 feet."
Right.
When he was in high school at Tropicana Field. I was like, God damn, who is that? And then, he from there on, he just took off, and he dropped out of high school, got his GED, did all, whatever. But Bryce Harper was that guy 10 years ago, whatever. He was the chosen one, like you said.
Yeah, no, I like the way he plays the game. I didn't love him as a as an opposing fan, right?
Yeah,
Especially with the Nationals, because he had a little hot dog in him, but I feel like he's matured a lot
yeah.
over
He
the
has.
years,
He
and I
has.
like that.
No, who did he fight one time? Was it Jonathan Papelbon? Who was?
Something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think
Jonathan
so.
Papelbon. Yeah.
With the
Yeah.
Nationals, I was like, that's it.
No, but
Jonathan
Papelbon's an
Papelbon is
idiot
out.
though. Yeah, yeah. He's gone. You never
Yeah.
seen him again. You haven't seen him since.
No, I saw him. He entered the Red Sox Hall of Fame the other day. I saw that.
No, but I'm saying, as far as when he was
Oh,
playing, I'm saying from that point on
that
until
was
when he
it.
finally retired, that was
That
it.
was it. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So who you got? Who's your guy? NL
Mookie.
MVP. All right.
Mookie, man. Mookie just and the crazy thing is, and I say this all the time, I still don't think he's a very good shortstop.
Mm.
I don't know why the Dodgers have him there. I mean, I understand, but I don't understand. Like
No, they just don't have
he's
anybody that can cover that position right now.
I think they're doing him a disservice though, because I feel like he's so much of a better outfielder than shortstop.
Yeah.
And he still puts up numbers anyway. I mean, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
I wouldn't say he's bad. I think he's above average. Just looking at him playing the position, it looks to me he just looks seamless. I don't know how he did it. Like I just don't know how he did that transition after so many years playing outfield.
He's
Like
incredible.
nothing, like nothing. It's
Yeah.
like putting Aaron Judge to play second base, for example.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna look rusty.
Second
It's gonna
base.
look crazy.
He's
But
looked better lately at the position, but I remember when he first transitioned, I was like, "Oh boy, this ain't
yeah,
gonna work." He
yeah,
looked a little weird on the jumps, but he's gotten better. I just think that I think he's not playing his best position, in my opinion. I think his
yeah.
best position is in the outfield.
I agree. Who do you think they should go after in terms of shortstops, so they don't have so many, so he doesn't have, I would say, that responsibility on his hand.
Shortstops are so hard to find
Yeah.
because that's usually a position that you need to fill internally.
Hmm.
Um, I can't. I mean, dare I say, if the Toronto Blue Jays blow up the whole thing, Bo Bichette would fit seamlessly. Could you imagine Bo Bichette in that lineup?
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know if they have the capital to make it happen. The prospect capital, they always
mhm.
seem to. So,
They always
if
do.
not, yeah.
They always
So
do. That's the thing, and I think that Bobby Shet's trade value right now is all time low.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I
So
think if you give him like Andy Baez or something like that, which is a great prospect, I
yeah,
mean, I think they
yeah,
would
yeah.
take it right now.
Probably. You know what? Yeah, yeah. The thing is, are they going to be willing to part with Andy Pajes? Pajes has been up and down. Obviously, he's a rookie. You got to give him time, but
Yeah,
you don't know what he is. You don't know what he can turn into.
I mean, you
He's got
got you
time.
got Outman out there. You got Outman. Then you're gonna switch up, a Mookie to second base or back to the right field. I mean, I think that they can get rid of one of their, outfielders right now. But let's see. All right, AL Cy Young. I have Luis Hill. Same thing. I think we talked
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, yeah.
Eh,
There's nobody else there. I don't think. Yeah, not to me.
Nobody else.
No. Yeah, I
Nobody
agree.
else. And then on NL Cy Young, I got Carl Quantrill from Colorado Rockies. This guy was amazing. To be
Yeah,
honest, I don't
yeah.
watch a lot of Rockies, and I was surprised. I was like, "How you doing that in Denver, in Colorado? That makes no sense." I mean, look at this: a ERA 1.71, 4 wins, 0 losses. That's crazy.
Yeah, he
31
in that
innings,
park.
32 strikeouts. Yeah, I mean, I think he pitched twice or no, 3 times in Coors Field, but that's just crazy. You don't see those type of numbers from anybody on that team.
No, he's been amazing. He's been, and I was surprised also because he kind of popped up out of nowhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I thought about putting him. I went with Ranger Suarez just because,
Hmm.
and then as soon as, and then again we went back to he got hurt. He had
Hmm.
that outing where he gave up like a million runs. I'm like,
Yeah,
crap. But his numbers are still good. So
yeah. No, 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 for sure. All right. So, before we get into the 7:30, how we call it, which is, the basically a couple questions that we give a rundown. How do you call that though? Like when you're doing a speed run, basically,
Yeah, speed round.
a speed round. No,
They can
but they do have a
hit and
name.
run.
Hit
Hit
and
and
run.
run. I guess we
Trademark
could
it.
call it trademark that. Siete
Yeah.
treinta. It doesn't. It rolls off the tongue, but I guess in English you just call it hit and run.
Your hit. We go into that. I'm gonna mention you some MLB teams that you're gonna tell me, if they're contenders or pretenders. By
Yep.
now, I think we should know, right?
Yeah, we should.
I'm gonna start with the AL East. I got Yankees, pretenders, contenders. We don't even have to say it, right?
Come on.
Yeah.
Well,
All right,
this is a joke.
Baltimore.
You know that.
I like to do it. All right, Baltimore. I think we both agree contenders.
Absolutely.
Boston Red Sox, Tampa Bay Rays, Blue Jays.
They're all pretenders, although the Rays to me are the one that's the most interesting because they seem to always find a way to sneak in the playoffs and then make noise. So I'm 50-50 on the Rays, even though you ask me like championship contender, probably not. But I think they'll sneak into the playoffs somehow.
Hey, I don't think this year, but what I'm surprised with is the Red Sox. How their pitching has been so good. Like, it makes no sense. It just makes no sense. Like,
No.
No idea.
I don't love their team. I don't love that. Now I like some of their players,
yeah.
What is his name? Rafaela. He's been good.
Willy Abreu.
Yeah.
There's some they have some really good pieces. Brian Bayo. Like, they have some good pieces. But honestly, did you think that they were gonna have this good of an ERA?
No, never.
Makes no sense.
No. I think I'm still waiting for them to fall off, but
yeah, me too. Eventually they will. They will.
Right. I mean, I like Alex Cora, but I go for them for Alex Cora, but that's it.
All right, AL Central. Very interesting. Cleveland Guardians.
This one is hard, man. And I would have never thought that this would be difficult. Their pitching has been really good, man.
Yeah.
It's hard. To me, this is one of the toughest ones to pick.
Yeah, I agree.
That division has been good, man. That division has been really good.
This is the best division, I think, in all of baseball right now.
Right now, yep. Yeah. You ask me, pretenders. Right. Although, I'm waiting for them to crash down to reality, but they've been really good.
All right, the Royals.
All right, you know what? I'm gonna stand on this one.
Go.
I'm gonna say contenders.
Really?
I'm gonna say contenders. Yep.
I don't hate it.
Now, I'll tell you, this is a little bold. Now, I could look like a total fool in a few months, right? I think they're a contender because if they make another trade, they're like one trade away from. Their pitching has been better than people expected.
That's for sure.
I think about it now. I almost picked Seth Lugo in the AL because Seth Lugo's been that good.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. I'm waiting for him to kind of crash down to earth too, but who's to say he does? Who knows, right? So I like their young nucleus. They hit enough. I think I'm gonna go with contender.
All right. I don't hate it. I wouldn't go that far, but I don't hate it.
Yeah.
Minnesota Twins. They're above 500.
Pretender because they have holes, man. Like, I like their team. Like, I want them to be good.
Yeah. I like their team too.
They're like a lowercase version of the Royals. They're very similar. But they're missing
only thing,
more.
what they're missing is pitching. I mean, I don't know how to say it. They just don't have starting pitching, in my opinion. I mean, they got Pablo Lopez, and when he gets hit, like, who else? Like, who comes as the backup, Just
If
nothing.
they can make, I'll tell you what, and I think the Mets will eventually. We're not talking about NL yet, but if the Mets fall way out, which I expect they will, I think the Mets can trade one of those pitchers to Minnesota. So whether it be a Quintana or a Severino, I think that could be a good trade for them.
Yeah, Severino would be a good trade for them. Yeah, that's good. All right, Tigers, White Sox.
No, come on.
We already know. But,
They are horrible.
Detroit has surprised me. I mean, they're 28-30. I mean,
they're coming. They're coming.
You think so?
Yeah, they have good. Well, they're not coming in that. I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs, but coming as far as they're getting better. They got young players. You know, I think Javier Baez will probably be in Mexico sometime this year when they cut him a check.
No, he'll be just fine. I think that Detroit just needs, I don't know, some of those guys to mature. That kid
they're young.
They're very young, and they got some good pitching as well. Like people that don't know, people that you never heard of, and they're pitching very well. You
have young guys. They had the Riley Green.
Riley Green.
Some of those guys. They're not like the sexy team. They're not the sexiest team, but I think they're about another year or two away. But they're showing, at least they're not horrible anymore.
No, they're not horrible.
They're watchable.
They're not the laughing stock anymore.
No, right.
Yeah. All right. AL West, Mariners. What do you think?
I like the Mariners. I think that their arms are interesting. I want to see them get another offensive piece, though. I think Julio Rodriguez, yes, he's had a bad year so far, but I feel like they depend on him too much. He needs more protection in the lineup. And I don't think enough gets made about that. Julio's not a guy who's going to carry an entire lineup by himself. That's not him. He can in stretches, but he's not. He's a 5-tool player who needs help around him. He can't just do it all himself.
I agree. I think that eventually, if they get another bat, like you said, some help on that lineup, I don't know who it could be. I mean, all the good guys, I feel. Shoot.
Pete Alonso. Listen, Pete Alonso is not. It's gonna happen. Look, I'm a Mets fan, but I live in the real world.
Wow.
Okay. Pete Alonso's getting traded, which we're giving away too much of the Mets stuff. We're gonna talk about that in a few minutes, I think.
No. It's all right. I mean, Pete Alonso would come like that for them. I mean, that would be clutch. I mean, if they can make that trade,
Starling Marte. You can add both of them to that team. You can get them right now for a bag of balls because the Mets ain't gonna get a lot back for them.
That is true. Shoot, man, I would go all in if I was them. I mean, they're just gonna trade Ty France for a bag of peanuts if they can. Like, who cares?
Right.
Yeah. All right, Rangers. Tell me.
I don't know what's up. They're a weird team, bro. They're weird. It's like they went all in on last year. They had like the Adolis Garcia. I mean, he's hitting barely above the Mendoza line. His power numbers I think are decent, but he's just not consistent at this point. I don't know what's going on with him, and they have like what I call the World Series hangover.
Yeah, I would say so. That's a good analogy where they kind of just stepping back into the fruition of the regular season. But by now, man, I mean, I know that they had a better May than April, but by now, I think that they should be woken up. Like, guys, we got to be on first place. We can't be.
Astros might surge. I think the Astros might surge now.
Those are the Nets. That's the Nets team. Astros, contenders or pretenders.
They're almost like the Astros are almost like a zombie. It's like Jason in the movie. Like you think they're dead and they come back. Like we thought they're dead. We killed them off, and they're gonna. All right, here we go. I'll put my money where my mouth is. They're gonna be contenders. They're gonna come back. I can't believe that Seattle's gonna run away with it. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
I would agree with you. Man, and Verlander pitched very well his last outing. Framber Valdez pitched well. If they can get their pitchers back, then they can be one of the deadliest teams in the whole MLB, especially their bullpen. If they can get their bullpen like where it used to be, forget about it. They're coming back. And yes.
They have the guy. And mira,
Mhm.
este tipo Abreu did a minor league assignment. I understand he's old. I'm
Mhm.
not saying you're gonna get Chicago White Sox Abreu,
Yeah,
but
no, no, of course.
if you get 30% of Abreu in
Mhm.
that team, and you got the platoon catcher position, catcher the way they put the platoon, the catching, um,
Mhm.
with Jeremy hitting the way he is and Jordan heating up, I could see them making a nice little run.
Definitely. All right, Oakland A's, Angels, we already know. There's
They
nothing to be
suck.
seen. All right. Philadelphia Phillies.
Absolutely. I mean,
Absolutely.
they're monsters.
Yeah. Braves.
I'm worried about the Braves. I feel like their pitching is not going to hold up.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
You
worried about
know,
them too. And then no Acuna, which was heating up on the past 2 weeks before the injury. Man, that
I ha-
that's a tough blow.
I have to believe the Braves will be contenders, but with a little asterisk.
Yeah.
They're gonna need help at the deadline. If they get help at the deadline, they could make a run. If they don't, they won't. Because I think they have the nucleus. They're just banged up.
Yeah, and you have some disappointing like a disappointed start of the year for Olsen. Albies is not doing great. I mean, they just have so many disappointing like offensive players that are just not doing their job. So if they can
Mm-hmm.
wake up, they're contenders. Like right now, right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. They just. It seemed like the injuries. Acuna, and then
Hmm.
it all started with Strider. Obviously
Hmm.
that was a big blow. I think they underestimated or they overestimated their starting pitching. I don't think they paid
Mm,
enough attention to that in the offseason. They thought they were going to hit everybody to death,
yeah.
and their offense hasn't woken up.
Well,
So
what about let's see, Nationals, Miami Marlins, and the Mets? We
eh,
already know they're sellers, but tell me about the Mets. What do you think they need to do now? What's the next step?
they've been playing better, but who cares? Because they're too far out now. I've seen enough of this core to suggest that they're one of the oldest teams in the MLB, which not a lot of people have mentioned that.
Mm,
You got 30 somethings like Marte, you got JD Martinez, you got obviously Pete, right? Pete
yeah.
is not old, but he's 30 now.
Hmm.
Jeff McNeil, those are the guys you're gonna have to banish
Lindor.
out of there. Lindor is over 30.
Hmm.
Lindor is but Lindor, you can't trade him. Where are you gonna trade him?
No, no, no,
He's got
impossible right now.
$270 million on a contract. Who's gonna give you
Yeah.
that money or half of it? You can't.
No.
You know, um, it's just been a disappointing year all around. I think you got to look at this core for what it is, and it's not. This is not it. You got to trade it whoever you can, everybody. I'm talking
Mhm.
about Quintana, JD, Alonso,
Severino.
Severino will give you something back.
Hmm.
Severino's got an arm. He'll give you something back. ¿Quién más? Bader will
Yeah.
give you something. McNeil, new golf clubs, whatever. You won't get anything back for him.
Do you think that they should be looking because I saw that they sent down Brett Beatty. Do you think that they can get anything from that kid?
Uh, he looks lost at the plate. I think let him stay in the minors this year, figure it out. Vientos, to be fair, has earned that playing time.
Yeah, I agree. I
Let
agree.
him play. You're not going anywhere anyway. Who do you have? This lineup was constructed with the idea of wait and see. The Mets, nobody with their right mind, right? For real, wait and see. Vamos a ver, vamos a observar.
Yeah, yeah.
This GM will press the red button, the red destruction button coming soon
Quick. Yeah.
because he didn't put this team together. And no
Oh
es
yeah, that is
pendejo.
true. That is true. Yeah.
Stearns didn't put this
Damn.
team together. So guess what? He
Hmm.
didn't put it together. So he's gonna tell Cohen, hey, listen, your team is not any good. Let me rebuild it.
Yeah,
Draft is coming, free agency, all that after this, he's gonna blow up the team. So I believe
I
that.
agree. All right, NL Central. This is an interesting one. The Milwaukee Brewers.
That division sucks.
I know.
I
It's
don't like
always
that.
sucked. It always
I
sucked.
know.
Yeah.
It's a bad. I mean, the Brewers. Do you like their pitching? I mean,
No.
like really? No, they're
Eh,
pretenders.
only Freddie is there
Peralta.
and is actually good. After that, I mean, they traded Corbin Burns, and I don't. To be honest, I don't know. I understand why they did it. He wasn't happy, and all that negotiation stuff. But god damn,
Pay the man.
pay the man.
You pay him to be happy. If you give him money, he'll be happy.
Yeah, just like you did, just like you did for Yelich, for example. Just like you did with Ryan Braun, for example. Like, come on, you know how to pay guys. Sometimes it doesn't matter.
Look at Christian Yelich. Now I understand Christian Yelich was good for a couple years. Does he look like a baseball player?
No. No.
He looks like an accountant. Like he don't look like a baseball player.
All right, the Cubs, the Cardinals, Pirates, Reds, all those guys, we can put them all in a bag and pretend nobody's gonna
blend them, and they just. I mean, Pirates may be good in like 2 years, but I mean,
Hey, no, the Pirates and I hope that the Reds don't fall into this like into the same Pirates thing. But the Pirates seem to be like they're always 1 year away from 1 year away.
Mm-hmm.
Like every year,
right.
every year, like you think that they got Keller, they got this kid Jones, now they got Paul Skeens, and it just never matches. It never comes together,
because they don't don't.
Mm-hmm.
The one run where they had about 8, 9, 10 years ago when they had Andrew McCutchen, which they have again now, but right. But they had a good farm system, and they got lucky because it all happened at the same time. Whereas now their farm system has been good, but they don't supplement the team with. You got to supplement with. You got to spend some money. They don't spend any money.
No.
So, you got to spend some money, something. You can't be, number 30 in payroll every year. I mean, come on.
Well, I don't think they are. I think the Oakland is taking them over that. Anyway,
what are they? 2029?
Yeah. The Dodgers. I mean, we don't have to go there. They're contenders. Padres.
Man. I don't like what I'm seeing again. Something is going on in that locker room. I don't know what it is. I could be wrong. I'm just speculating. They always seem to be one guy away. There's always something happening in that locker room. Like there's always, don't you see the guys that are underachieving now? Now you have Jurickson Profile, who took it back to 10 years ago.
I know, right?
Miraculously.
Damn.
But what about Bogarts? What happened to this guy?
I mean, he got hurt, but we never understood
before he got hurt. Before he got hurt, though, what happened to him?
We never understood the signing of Bogarts, man. I'm bothered by that signing that they did. Having not even Tatis, forget about Tatis. Hakon's whatever. Hakon Sim, the kid from Korea. Kim, yeah. If you have that kid, which is great on the defensive side, why do you sign Bogarts? It makes no sense. I mean, unless you want him on second base, but don't pay him $300 million.
And then they did, and then I think this was a mistake. Now, some people may disagree with me. Re-signing Machado to that contract, that new why you didn't have to do his contract over. I think it was me. I know some people say that they like the deal. I didn't like the deal because you're already seeing a slow decline.
Yeah, a slow decline for sure. But remember, it was the same thing with A-Rod and the Yankees. I mean, what were you gonna do? Lose him for like he was just gonna bounce out if you didn't give him the money. That was it.
That's a good point. Yeah, I get it, but I look at it like if you weren't gonna retain the rest of that core, right? So you're looking at like it's almost like they added bad money on top of bad money. So it's like you gave Bogarts that money, right? You decided that of all the guys you weren't gonna pay, you were not gonna pay Soto for whatever reason. Now Soto wasn't as good with the San Diego. Maybe that's part of it. But
No. He was good. He was good. He got
no, not
35 and
yeah, but not
100.
as good. Yeah, but not as good with like he is with the Yankees. I'm
Oh
talking
no,
about
for sure.
day in and day out.
Hmm.
He hasn't looked this energized ever since
Yeah.
Nationals.
I
So
agree.
to me, I think it was not. I don't know. So I say pretenders.
Pretenders. Yeah, I agree. Giants, pretenders, Diamondbacks. What happened to these guys? Pretenders. And the Rockies, same thing. Pretenders. I
Yeah,
mean,
pretenders division.
and in the West, I mean, looks dreadful. Like, what happened to the I think it was the best. Apart from the AL East and the NL East, well, to be honest, I think always since the beginning of time, NL West has been the best, like the best division in
Yeah,
MLB.
yeah. Diamondbacks look like
And look at that.
garbage, bro. What happened to them?
Yeah,
They just what's going on? I like that team. I had liked that
bro.
team going into the year.
Think about this. What happened to Jordan Montgomery,
Oh
Eduardo
yeah, yeah.
Rodriguez? Like those
Pitching is not.
guys that
Yeah,
they signed, they were supposed to be their saving grace because they got Zach Gallen, they had the other kid, a Seawall, P-Wall, whatever.
yep.
They have
hmm
so many good players and so many good pitchers, and they added to that and nothing. I mean,
It
they
hasn't
can't.
worked. Yeah,
It hasn't worked out, so I think they gotta retool. I'm not gonna give up on them. They made it to the World Series. They weren't that good last year either. They just made it. I think they won what 89 games, whatever
something
it
like
was.
80, 85, 86 games. They didn't win a lot of games. Yeah, they snuck
Correct.
in. They got
And
hot.
they out of all the teams here, they understand that if they just get in and just get hot at the right time, they can make it happen. The same thing with the Padres. I think that we're calling them pretenders, but in reality, I'll be scared of the Padres if I'm any team
The talent's
that has
there. Yeah, yeah.
the
The
talents
names are
there.
there.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. The only thing with Arizona, like you mentioned, is like you
Hmm.
also mentioned, right? With the Padres is the names, and then with Arizona is the experience from last year.
Yeah.
So those are the parts that they
You
could
know
make
what's
a run.
funny? They could use Tommy Pham again. That's
Tommy Pham is a good pro, man. I like him. He's a good
no,
player to have.
he batted very well in May.
Yeah, he
Like
did.
he had a really good May, and I was like, "Dang, look at that!" And nobody wanted to sign him.
No, of course
Uh,
not. No.
all right, so we're gonna go to the 7 and 30, 7 and 30.
Yep.
I'm gonna start with number one. What's going on with the Metropolitans? We talked about them a lot, but give me the reason.
Okay, so something's wrong with that clubhouse. They need to restart. Press the restart button, blow the whole thing up, blow it up. Mayday, mayday, mayday. I don't know about Carlos Mendoza as the manager. I'm a little, you had that stupid, which we didn't mention we didn't have this on the notes. The stupid Jorge Lopez, of course. There hasn't been a bigger Puerto Rican baseball story than Jorge Lopez, of course,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
year. Wonderful. We got a reliever throwing his glove in the air, calling the umpire. Él dijo, tú eres una mierda.
yeah.
I read his lips. He said, tú eres una mierda. So the umpire threw him out, whatever. Long story short, I had mentioned those names that they need to get rid of. Get rid of everybody. I think it's time to restart, and I think they will.
All right, Ronald Acuna. He's out for the rest of the season. I mean, what do you think that affects the Braves? You already know that they won in 2021 without him. Do you think that affects them?
Normally, I would say no, but this year I think yes, because they're not as deep this year as they have been in years past. So I think this year they're gonna feel it this year. Now, can they overcome it? They still can. They have the repertoire. They have the experience. Their guys got to, like you mentioned, Olsen, Albies. All these guys have got to, Darno. I mean, these guys got to be consistent and they got to wake up. So they can still turn it around, but they may take a step back this year if they don't get it together because they're not as deep.
Yeah. All right. Number three. Which Yankee do you think had a better month of May? Aaron Judge or Luis Gil?
Oh, this is a hard one.
Hmm.
I'm gonna go with Aaron Judge because he plays every day. Um, people were already saying, "Oh, he's done. What's wrong with Judge? They gave him his money. Él no sirve. Vamos a cambiarlo. El equipo de Soto." And he said, wait. It's early, okay? So he's showing you who's the man still. Now Soto, they can both be the man. It's a
Yeah.
team sport, so they're both the man. Judge doesn't need the personality. Soto's got all that covered, but Judge talks with his bat, as does Soto. So I think that and Luis Hill. Remember what Luis Hill, and nobody's talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
I think he can continue this, but don't be surprised if he gets put into the bullpen later on. He's going to have innings limit. So pay attention to that.
So when Garrett Cole comes back, it's gonna be interesting who's going back to the bullpen. So I think it got easier now that Clark Smith got injured.
Hurt.
He got hurt for the next 2 weeks. He's gonna be out. So they're gonna bring somebody else, and then Garrett Cole's gonna come back, and you can put in Clark into the bullpen. But in my opinion, even before that happened, we had that conversation in Bodega. And I said, Luis Hill has to be the guy that has to go back to the bullpen. I mean, it makes sense. He's the rookie. He has to be understanding that, this position that you have was given to you last minute,
Right.
because
Right.
we needed somebody. So, grateful for the opportunity and go back to the bullpen and come back when somebody gets injured because it's the New York hospitals at the end of the day. Como que le
Right.
dicen,
Right.
the Yankees St. Jude or whatever, like
Right.
they
Right.
always
Right.
get
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
eventually.
No. Well, that I just think, like you said, that the right now this is a conversation to take place later on, like you said. But I think they got to start prepping for it, and I think you don't want the kid to lose his confidence, But I think they're gonna baby. I think they're gonna baby him, bro. I'll be honest with you, because the Yankees love doing the innings limit stuff. They love doing it.
Yeah, no, but to be honest, man, yes, to your point, yes. But the Yankees have a bad reputation of, I don't want to call it Latino players, but whatever they did to Andujar, whatever they did to to be honest, what they did to Frazier was messed up. What they did to a lot of players, I mean, has been kind of messed up. Ivan Nova lost
No,
confidence.
you're not wrong. No, listen, you brought up something interesting with the Latino players, but I'll take it further. I think they've handled young players in general really poorly, especially pitchers.
Yeah.
Yankees have handled pitchers very poorly because Severino had issues too. Don't forget that. Severino had issues with injuries and they didn't know how to deal with
That's the biggest thing. Injuries. Like, I don't know who needs to get fired in the Yankees.
Yeah.
But honestly, man, they just either they give like bad advice or something. But Garrett Cole, to be when he got that injury, the Yankees were like, "Oh no, you'll come back. We'll put you on the 2 weeks." He went to get a second opinion. He was out for a long time because, like, I don't know if it's like to get them like to play while they're injured or while they're hurt or they don't understand the in between of them. But you don't see that happening with the Dodgers. You don't see that happening with with the Braves and things like that.
They're
Only
more
the
decisive.
Yankees.
They're more
Correct.
decisive with their injury. Yeah, they've had issues with injuries for some years now,
For the
and
longest time. Michael
it's almost
Pineda.
like how the Mets used to be. Remember how the Mets were like? Mets were like. I think the Mets have done better with that lately, but
for sure.
that's the one thing they've done better with.
Yeah.
But the Yankees have gotten bad with the injuries. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Number 4. Which MLB manager needs to go?
All of them. No, I'm just kidding. No, I just off the top of my head, I think the White Sox manager Pedro Grifol needs to go. And it's not his fault necessarily. I just think that when you're such a bad team like the White Sox, like you just got to get rid of everybody. So I think he's gonna go. I want to say, I mean, he's the one who stands out. Florida, Miami Marlins manager, I think is probably in danger too. Although, what was the expectation? You got to keep that in mind too. What was the expectation for these teams?
Yeah.
I also think, to be honest with you, this is gonna sound crazy. If the Braves miss the playoffs, I could see them trying to get another voice in there and get rid of Brian Snitker. I could see that. I could see that. Now, I'm not saying they're gonna miss the playoffs, but I'm saying if they do, if they fall short, I could see the Braves changing their manager.
Damn.
I'm not saying I would. I'm just saying
No, I know.
I could see something radical like that.
That's an interesting one. You know who I'll get rid of? Ron Washington. I love the guy, but
Good one. Good
what
one.
he did to Luis, what's his name? Luis Guillorme. I don't know if you remember this play where Luis Guillorme was showing a bunt. He couldn't bunt.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
So
I
he
remember.
struck out and it was
Uh,
a whole fiasco. But
I
here's
thought
the
he was
thing.
still wearing. I had to look to see if it was in a Mets uniform still, because that was like a Met. That was like that was so Mets, you know.
A Mets thing. So
Yeah.
then Ron Washington went to the. I think he just criticized him. He threw him under
Yeah.
the bus, and I
Yeah.
don't like when a manager does that. You can be as pissed as you want, but don't throw the guys under the bus because I think that that's when you lose the clubhouse.
Agreed.
You know, because
Agreed.
you need to be the guy to say, even if you're gonna say it privately, like man, come on, like you gotta bunt, but just don't say it on the media. You know. So
I
I think
agree. I agree.
yeah. So I think he's
Yeah.
losing
Yeah.
that
Ron.
clubhouse.
He'll be gone. He'll be gone because he's remember the tolerance for the old school manager nowadays is not very high. So
I
he'll
agree.
be gone. I think he'll be gone. That's a good one. I didn't think about
Mhm.
that. That's a good one.
All right. Can Edwin Diaz bounce back this season?
Oh boy. It depends on the definition of bounce back. Like, um, mind you, I made up the question, but,
Yeah.
but I think 2022, I don't think he's gonna be that, but I think he can get to similar to it later this year. You know, if he fixes himself, and I think it's a mental thing with him right now with that injury,
Mhm.
more than physical.
Yeah.
Um, it also depends on where the Mets are, because if the Mets are like 100 games out of first place, you may just say, "Hey, pack it in. We'll see you next year."
Yeah.
but I don't think so. But I think maybe he'll get to somewhat to it and hopefully ramp it up next year.
All right. Let me see. Next one. Angel Hernandez has retired. Do you think he was the worst umpire of all time?
It's hard to say that because again, there's a lot of other umpires who we don't know them. That's the
Hmm.
thing. Like I know that he got a lot of shit, and I agree with it. Like he deserved it. I mean, he's got his own top 10 highlights and shit. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
The fact that we know him first and last name, and we know all his escapades and shit, like
Hmm.
his exploits. Like I get it, but I'm sure there's been other umpires who have been as bad, if not worse. It's just that we don't know them. He's the most famous bad umpire. So yeah,
Yeah. It's like in DR where we don't call a razor we don't call a razor, to shave, a razor. We call it Gillette because of the
right.
brand.
Of course, I
Yeah.
know
So
that. Dame un gilet,
that
manito.
was
Tú quieres un
Gillette.
gilet? Dame un
Yeah.
gilet.
So basically, that's what Angel Hernandez became to the worst empires or the bad empires. He just became the face of it.
Un gilet, un gilet.
Un Gillette. That's what he was. He branded it himself, and at the end of the day, everybody hated him. But to
Yeah,
be honest, I mean, to your point, you just don't know, like day in and day out, who's been bad because when you think about it, like you're watching a game and some umpires that you just don't know are calling everything inside strikes or outside. I'm
right,
sorry, for the most
right.
part outside, and they
Yeah,
just have their own view of things. So I don't know about the worst umpire of all time, but he was bad, and
he was
I didn't like
bad.
him.
Yeah, I think what happened with him is that the problem with him is that he made everything about himself.
Hmm.
That was the problem. He liked the show. So like he lived that character. So like
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
openly bad. Like he did it on purpose sometimes. And he knew like you can't fire me.
Hmm.
So I think that was it. He was just a villain. I think he'll be missed as far as he'll be missed, believe it or not, because then now who are we gonna complain about? People are gonna miss complaining about him. I'm telling you.
Yeah, that is true.
So
That is true. All right. Number 7. Time for the Blue Jays to completely sell the team, like sell everything, just be sellers at their deadline.
they got about a good month to show otherwise. I think that, and now it sucks because these guys are young. Like Vladdy's still young.
Hmm.
Bo Bichette is still young, although these guys I think are about a year. What is it? A year and a half away from free agency, whatever it is,
Yeah.
right? Something like
Yeah.
that. So
Year and a
I
half.
think it's tricky because if they keep playing like crap, what are you going to get for them?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you might, if you want to be really drastic, you might trade like Jose Berrios. Like, I'm not even kidding.
Mm.
With 4 years left on his deal. The contract is not that crazy, his contract.
Yeah,
I looked into it. It's
it
about
seemed friendly. Does seem
22 million
friendly.
a year for a pitcher is not a lot. 4 years
No.
left, somebody will take it. And he's 30.
Yeah, he's
So
gonna give you his best years. Oh man, that would be, yeah. I think that might be their best bet, but I think that they can get a good haul for Vladdy still.
still,
Bobby Shet, man, he's all time low right now. I don't think you can get a lot from him. I would keep him and trade Vladdy if I can get a good deal.
the only way I think if you can get a good deal, if you compare one of those guys with Jose Berrios, I think you can get a decent
Mm,
haul or because again, like I said, the contract is not terrible for pitchers for
yeah,
nowadays. The contract is
correct,
over 20 something million a year. Right-hander who's doesn't have an injury history, knock on wood.
correct.
So
All right. And finally, the Negro League stats were added to the MLB. You think this is a problem?
a lot of people are upset with it. Some people are happy with it. The only problem I have with it, and
Hmm.
I'll be honest, but I'll also tell it like it is too. The only problem, I think it's fit. It's long overdue on one hand, but then on the other hand, it's hard to compare because the at bats are not going to be there. The games played are not going to be there. So it's like you go from having Ty Cobb, the most infamous racist of all time. This is the irony.
Hmm.
Ty Cobb, the most infamous racist of all time, to Josh Gibson leading in OPS. So it's
Hmm.
like Ty Cobb is probably rolling over in his grave, right?
Yeah.
God damn it, you know. But it's a little tricky because we need context for this, right? Because it's like
Hmm.
you can't count them as MLB stats, but they are major league stats. You understand? Because
Hmm.
the Negro leagues had as good, if not better, players at that time than what
Yep.
MLB had. The stats will back it up. So the competition was great. So at the end of the day, it's okay. It is what it is. I mean, I don't think that it's the worst thing in the world. I just think we need to pay attention to, okay, before declaring, hey, Josh Gibson was the greatest of all time. We don't know that. He's probably one of the best, but we don't know that because it's hard to compare eras.
No,
So,
because we never we heard it. Like we know the names, we know some of the players, but we really don't know if that makes sense. Like we didn't grow up thinking that he had the most home runs. If that makes sense,
right, right, right.
I'll say this: the NBA did a good job on this when they merged with the NBA and the ABA.
ABA.
You still like you go to baseball a basketball reference for example and they'll tell you these are the guys from the ABA like total points, these are the top 10 whatever points per game. Then on
Mm-hmm.
the NBA these are the players, and then you have a total if they played on both ABA and NBA, so they kind of have it separated, but you still can say, oh, okay, like look at Moses Malone, he was that good on the ABA and then he transitioned, and you have some type of reference. But if you're just gonna put all the stats and like not only it's not disregarding, but I don't know what you did. Did you merge with the Negro Leagues? Did you
Right,
come into an
right.
agreement with them? Is it
Yeah, it's
I don't
misleading.
know.
It's
It's
misleading.
misleading.
It's
Yeah.
misleading. Yes. Yeah, and I say that with all due respect to,
Yeah.
because those leagues were competitive, but I think you can't lump them all together with American League and National League, you know, MLB, right? And then put the Negro leagues all in one. They weren't all the same. We need context to.
You,
We need to contextualize everything.
correct. And I always say this: Babe Ruth can't be the best player of all time because he never batted against a black player. You know
Never.
that's
No.
the
Right.
reality. So
Right.
to me, you can't be. Willie Mays has to be above you. Barry Bonds has to be above you. I
Hank
just can't
Aaron.
put you.
Yeah.
Hank Aaron also. Um, but in terms of the Negro leagues, until they don't explain it well, it's just gonna see as pandering, if that makes sense.
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's sad that it took this long for them to do it. And they didn't even, I don't think they executed it the way they probably could have, because it does look like pandering. I'm glad you brought that up.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's it, man. I mean, what else? That's it.
That's it. Yeah, we did it. Hicimos ocho en 40.
En 40.
Pero, no,
8 en
no,
40. No,
ocho
but it was a
40.
pleasure, man. Thank you so much for having
Thank
me,
you.
bro.
Thank you, bro. It was nice having you. Willy Baez, Bodega Sports. We did it again. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you. And we'll link up again, man. I appreciate you, and definitely we'll connect again.
You got it, Santos. Take care, man.
Take care, brother. All right. That was Willy Baez, episode number 7, man. That was fun. It's always fun to talk about all these things. I mean, we could talk like for 100 years. So I want to invite everybody. Make sure to follow Bodega Sports. I'm going to have all this stuff on the bottom of the, if you're watching on the YouTube links and all that stuff. So thank you guys so much for listening. Comment, subscribe, give it a like, and check out Bodega Sports. He and his partner. I told him and his partner that his partner needs to come on the show next time, and he blew me off again. I'm going to get him. So I'm going to make sure, Willy, you make sure you get him on here next time. Hay que ponerle viejo para acá también. Hablar con el viejo también. Okay, so you guys already know. Thank you guys for watching and for listening. And as always, live your life as if you're in a 3-2 count. Until next time.